At least 9 shots were reportedly fired at comedian Kapil Sharma's newly opened eatery in Canada's Surrey. The cafe, called Cap's Cafe, is Kapil Sharma's debut in the restaurant industry. A video of the incident showed a man firing indiscriminately at the cafe where staff was present. Khalistani terrorist Harjeet Singh Ladi has claimed the responsibility for this attack, which was which was done to get a reaction, perhaps. No, in fact, it was in reaction to a joke which Kapil made on Sikhs. This blatant attack again brings back in focus the free run that Khalistani groups seem to enjoy in Canada. The big question is, will the Carney government act to right the wrongs of Trudeau regime, which actively hobnobbed with the anti-India gangs? Maha Siddiqui is joining me from Vancouver. Maha, what are you picking up regarding the investigation?
Well, the Surrey police, Maria, have said that they have already tried to speak to those who could possibly be witnesses in this case, as well as looked at surveillance cameras that could be around to piece together exactly what happened at around 1 a.m. at 120th Street, which is where in Surrey, Kapil Sharma's new restaurant is placed. Meanwhile, what they are also saying is now going forward, the frontline investigation service support team is going to take a look at perhaps whether this is linked to any other incident in the past and what the possible motive could be. The Surrey police say that they have not zeroed in on any suspects so far, but as you are pointing out, reports in India are suggesting that a banned terror outfit, Babbar Khalsa International, could be behind this attack against Kapil Sharma's new restaurant in Surrey in Canada. Meanwhile, while India has constantly raised its concerns about the issue of Khalistan and the Khalistan separatists having a free run here, on the other hand, the Premier of British Columbia, David Eby, had only 2 weeks ago pointed out that he is going to write to Prime Minister Mark Carney to declare one specific group that he claimed is operating from India, Lawrence Bishnoi gang, as a terrorist outfit. He also said that he knows and has heard from several business persons across British Columbia, and specifically in areas where there is a large South Asian community, for instance, in Surrey, that they have been getting threatening calls as well as extortion calls, and that it's very difficult for them to do business under these circumstances. And he blamed what he claimed were outfits that were operating from India. So both sides are, in one sense, blaming each other for this kind of a fallout that the business community here, specifically in Surrey, is witnessing.
All right, Maha, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us on The Last Word. Terry Miliski is a senior journalist. He's joining me. We have Dean Baxander, who is a columnist of Sunday Guardian. Professor Swaran Singh is faculty, School of International Studies at JNU. Professor Singh, I'm beginning with you because BKI, which is Babbar Khalsa International Group, has been recognized as a terrorist outfit by the Canadian government. And Ladi is on the National Investigation Agency's most wanted list. And yet his men can carry out this kind of brazen shoot right in the heart of Surrey.
Indeed, Maria, BKI came to limelight from Kanishka episode, if you remember, of 1985. So it's a long-standing troublemaker for India, and I'm sure for other countries, including Canada as well. So they're being still, having that capacity to openly. There are 10 bullet holes, as the reports are saying. And I'm sure there were possibly more bullets used in this attack to operate in that sense so freely in Surrey, which is already an area of a certain amount of tension in that sense, where I'm sure the Surrey police is invariably alert to such possibilities, is surprising. And it is only again a demonstration of the kind of liberties and maneuverability that such people have continuously had in Canada. A certain hope was placed from Mark Carney coming to office, And it was thought that some of these elements would be marginalized, sidelined over a period of time. But Babur Khalsa also 2 days back, only in Punjab, a certain arms cache was also captured, which apparently, as the reports are saying, was meant for Babur Khalsa operatives in India. So, in that sense, Pakistan, this is a group which is given sanctuary support, etc., from ISI in Pakistan. So, post-military tensions, maybe there is an angle of India-Pakistan relations also. But one point that I think I must make is if
Yes.
Canada wants to appreciate such freedom to their citizens that they can express whatever way they want, then the very contention that Kapil Sharma show was saying something about the behavior and clothes about a very martial the order of the Sikhs, Nihangs, uh, should be acceptable in that sense. That means if you want to have access of freedom in Canada, you should also appreciate other people's
Okay.
right to have that kind of freedom.
Okay. Terry,
But I think the deeper question is the difficulty of deciding between social norms, privacy, and freedom of comedy in that sense.
yes,
And
but
several
Terry,
comedians, whether it is
the question
Veerdas
here
or it is
is
Munawar,
that there was this sense that when Carney came to power, that there would be a complete shift in his approach to the Khalistani elements. It appears to be more of the same from Trudeau to Carney.
You're asking me about that, are you?
Yes, Terry, please go ahead.
All right, sorry, I just didn't hear you. The answer is yes, that was the expectation from those of us who have watched and criticized the Khalistan movement in Canada, and the permission that it has long received, not just from the Liberal government of Justin Trudeau, but from previous governments, conservatives, liberals alike. And this is supposed to be coming to an end, particularly if Canada wants to repair the terrible relations that developed with India in the wake of the Prime Minister's accusation that India was involved in the assassination of a Khalistani leader, Mr. Nijjar, a couple of years ago. Now, the situation is, okay, what exactly can Carney do? At the look, he's not the police chief in Surrey, and if you're going around shooting at restaurants in Surrey, no, that is not legal. You're not even supposed to have a handgun in Canada, so it's no use saying, if you'll forgive me, that they have a license to do this. They have permission to do this. But more broadly, it is correct to say that they have had permission to fly their flag and to sing their song for 40 years, going back all the way to the Kanishka bombing of 1985. And there is something clearly that Prime Minister Carney can do and should do the earliest possible to date to send the message to India that we are addressing this. For one thing, we are not going to have members of parliament, members of the Liberal Party, campaigning to try to show that, the Khalistanis didn't blow up the Kanishka in 1985. The Indian government blew up their own plane. It's a nonsensical piece of disinformation, which they've been peddling for 40 years. It hasn't got any traction, and still they keep it up. And still, there was indeed a Liberal member of Parliament who was propagating that disinformation just last year in a petition using the parliamentary website to publicize this endeavor. And the petition was a flop, but they keep at it. So there needs to be a denunciation. There needs to be disapproval, visible and obvious, by the top political leadership in Canada. We're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to say that's okay anymore. It's not going to be okay in Canada to propagate hate and to make excuses for mass murdering terrorism by doing such things as parading around, as they do in Canada, quite legally, with posters honoring the great martyr Talvinder Parmar, the mastermind of Canada's worst ever mass murder, the bombing of the Kanishka in 85. So all of these things, to send that message, Carney needs to step up and say, okay, we've had enough of this, and members of parliament who indulge this are not going to be okay with the party leadership. We're going to do something about it. and we're going to start. If we're not going to ban free speech in Canada, but that doesn't mean that we can't use our own free speech to denounce what they are saying and doing, and they got to start there and soon.
Okay, Dean, the question here is that, of course, we all agree that the new Prime Minister has to step up, but what does it really do to the overall, the confidence among the business community and the Indian community at large?
I think that's, Terry.
Yes, that's the question to Dean. Terry, that's the question to the other panelists, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I think Terry's covered off, the key elements, with respect to this movement in Canada. He's been one of the most celebrated journalists in terms of understanding the methodology of the Sikh separatist movement inside Canada. What we now have, though, we're at a geopolitical flashpoint globally, where Canada needs to pivot from a trade perspective and be taken seriously by India and the Modi government, that we are indeed going to reform our ways. These warnings have been, cited by some of my authors, Gary Clement, former RCMP, Michelle Junot Katsuya, formerly from CSIS Asia Pacific. All of these issues have been known to successive Canadian governments, as Terry outlined. We have done nothing because we've rather leveraged the diaspora vote bank politics of this Sikh group. And they're very powerful because they are now part of organized crime, and they're using that money to influence politicians in Canada. And the fact that we would allow a politician inside our own government to put out a false petition about the bombing of of Air India is absolutely absurd. And this takes leadership at the top, and we need to get our act together. Canada, to be a sovereign nation, to be a nation of the values to which we all stand for, we need to combat this kind of terrorism, this kind of criminality inside our own country. This is not free speech. This is hate speech that many of them are espousing. So we need to come to grips. The Carney government needs to come to grips with this and get our intelligence and RCMP with a mandate to go after these criminals inside Canada, arrest them, and clearly demonstrate to the Indian government that we're finally serious about combating these issues inside our own country.
Thank you so much for joining us, Professor Singh, Dean, and Terry, on this broadcast. That's all from me. I'm putting this entire discussion on ndtv.com. Thanks so much for watching.